Do you ever ask yourself, why do we do it? I'm talking about fishing in torrential rain, freezing Arctic conditions, even snow, or standing waist deep in water in the middle of winter. Or perhaps even traveling over 200 miles and getting up at 4 AM to fish a river that you've not seen in years. Well, that is exactly where I find myself, because just behind me is the mighty River Trent, which I have not fished in years, like I mentioned. Super excited, and hopefully today we're going to be able to catch a barbel. You can no longer night fish this session, and we've only got the hours of daylight to try and do it. So let's get all of this down to the peg and see what the plan of action is. Here we go then, first cast. For a long while, like I said, years since I fished this river. Super excited about it, and hopefully there's going to be a chance of a few fish. Now, the river is very clear and quite low, but it has always been a relatively kind river to us. And actually, what we've always done is fish the style of what you could say is carbeling style, people call it, where you've got like the stepped up barbel rods, fished on alarms, 2 rods, fill up some big bait droppers and put lots of bait in. And that's always been really good. But as I mentioned, this stretch is now actually days only. And we always used to fish nights when we done that and sort of set a stall out. So although it's a long travel this morning, like I said, up at 4 o'clock to get here, I'm fishing in a style that hopefully gives me a chance of catching a barbel in these sort of conditions of really clear water. So I'm fishing the tip. We'll go into baits and rigs and everything setups later on, but yeah, so I'm fishing, for me, a style that I've not fished this particular river, sort of feeder fishing for them as I would on my local river, yeah, almost a little bit step down tactics, and hopefully we can manage one. There is a chance that we might have to fish away all day and wait for that magical time just before it gets dark. So you can fish just about as it gets dark now. It's as late as we can fish until we have to be off. So it might be slow if it's hard, but I just don't know. We're not in touch with the Trent. Like I said, it's a long way to come. So not always know exactly what's happening. It's a bit of a mission. It's a bit of an exploratory adventure. But what I think I'm going to do is, I've just had that cast there. I think what I'm going to do is to have 5 or 6 quick casts, see if I can get some bait out, and then, you know, we'll have a chance of seeing if there's a few fish about. It looks like, or according to the tide table, that this is now going to be about high water, so the fishing may be slow until the tide picks up properly, but after that we'll see what happens. The tide has definitely just started to pull a little bit more, so I'm hoping potentially the fishing will come with it, as well as sort of get a bit of tide flow that normally sparks any river into life. But I'm going to be completely honest with you, I have absolutely no idea what to expect today. Like I said, this certainly isn't a local river for us, so I've chosen to fish in this way just because I was hoping that what I'm doing is I'm starting off with maggots, casters, hemp and stuff like that, sort of matchier type baits, you could say, I guess, in the thinking that I might be able to catch, hopefully, I don't know, roach, bream, chub. But thinking back, I was just chatting to Chris, like, we've fished this river quite a bit, but we've only fished it in the style that I was mentioning, and I think we've caught a chub before, but we've never really caught anything else. So I don't know if they even sort of inhabit this area, really. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you watching this probably know a lot more about the Trent than I do. So yeah, drop us a comment of like what tales you've got of the Trent. Like, do you catch many roach and bream and other species, or is it just pretty much just an out and out barbel river, which is what sort of I know it as? And it's definitely what I'm looking forward to trying to catch, if anything. Like, I know, like I said, I mentioned before, we fish sort of the alarms, carbeling sort of style, and the bites on those are just immense, like they just fold the rod over. And I thought it would just be absolutely wicked to see what they do on a tip rod. I'm just really super excited about it. So if you're interested in what we are using, I've gone with a Corum Limitless 200 gram casting weight feeder rod. So it's quite a heavy rod, but let's face it, we are fishing for double figure barbel, hopefully. I've gone for a big pit reel, that's clipped up, and then the rig's incredibly simple. I've got the bolt and run kit, currently holding out there nicely with a 3 ounce mesh feeder. And then I've got a hook link of about 1.5 meters. And that's what I'm going to sort of plug away, just keep casting down the same hole, and hopefully something turns up, like I said. And we'll play down with this sort of maggot caster hempy route, certainly for the first few hours. But if we don't catch anything because they're not here, as it gets to that bite window, which I'm sort of saying is an hour or so before darkness, I may switch over to the pellets and the boilies, because that's what we've always done and that's what I know works on here. But you know, it's a long way to come. It's a long day to wait for like potentially an hour's fishing. So I'm praying that something happens in the meantime of that. And it is unfortunately forecast about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that it's going to rain really heavy. So if it does that, it may dampen my enthusiasm to sit here and watch the tip. So we have got a shelter just set up behind us, and I might just have like 2 rods, but still fish the quiver tip style, but I'm going to sit and hide under there if it gets really bad. We'll see, we'll play around with what happens with that rain. But yeah, at least it's flowing now. I am confident. It's always been kind. We've had some nice fish out of this river, so I'm just going to keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully some fish are going to turn up. The second rod is coming out. I'm not going to say the panic button's been hit, but the hand's just waving over the top of it. And yeah, if I'm going to sit out there in the rain, I'm thinking I may as well increase my chance. I've got the option of setting a chair up for 2 rods to fish nicely against each other, and I've just had absolutely no indications at all fishing like nice, neat and tidy, the maggots and casters. And yeah, maybe there's not other fish in this particular stretch at the moment, like, but there's just no signs at all. So I know that a lot of this fishing can be like first light or just as it's getting dark. The new rules state that we can't be here at first light, so we're only going to get that last bit of the day into the evening that potentially is prime bite time when it's nice and low and clear like it is at the moment. So I'm thinking I'm going to fish 2 rods, same distance. On the right hand rod, I'm perhaps going to crush up some boilies, put some pellets, put a pellet hook bait on, fish more like an out and out barbel approach on that rod. And then on my left hand rod, I'm going to carry on plugging away with the maggots and casters, fish them on the same line, sort of 20-30 yards apart, 2 feeders going in, a bit more bait, a bit more regularity, maybe something will turn up. If not, we are just waiting for that witching hour and praying that this hasn't been a wasted trip. But that's a plan of action. I'm going to get things set up and we'll see what happens. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Slight technical error. I realised I lost the screw thread, so reverted to a good old bank stick, and we are fishing with 2 rods. But don't you worry about it in there, Chris. You stay in the dry, I'll do the work, and out here in the wet, see if I can get us one of these barbel. Come on. I'm not blanked. Yes. What is that? A little chublet, I'm guessing. Dace chub. What about that? It's a lot of effort for that, isn't it? I haven't blanked though.
Wait.
See ya. Oh dear. Right, it's a good sign though. First fight, first even glimmer that there's a fish in here other than the tiny little bleak that have been around my feet all day. Now, after losing that fish, spending all day in the rain, getting up at 4 AM to drive hundreds of miles, this will only make sense to those who are anglers. But the only thought process in my head was, when can I get down there again? And that is exactly where we are, back down on the River Trent. 2 weeks on. What's happened since then? Quite a little bit, to be fair. I've been on holiday, managed to get myself a little bit of a man flu cold. If I sound a bit dodgy and bunged up, I apologise. But in that time, we've had a fair bit of rain, and we've got down the river nice and early again today, and it looks quite good. You know, there's a bit more colour, there's a bit more depth. I'm confident today that the potential of a fish. Now, we are not mucking about. We're here to settle a score. I want to catch a barbel, and I want to catch a barbel only. The sort of softly approach, trying to catch other species, that didn't work last time. So I'm fishing 2 rods, and I'm going all out barbel baits. We've got pellets, we've got boilies. We have still got hempen casters just because they work. But yeah, we're fishing bigger baits, bigger hooks, 2 rods. I treated myself to a new tripod after the catastrophe of it falling over and losing me my screw thread. As you can see, I've got my nice river tripod here, nice and stable, so we can fish these 2 rods now. That's the second rod fishing, and we are going for it. All out attack, big baits, big fish. That is the plan. This swim proved as productive as day 1, so we decided to move, and luckily it wasn't long before a barbel finally decided to show up. Cheers. Now I've got to not lose it. Now I've finally got the bite. I'm so scared. Like, there is a limit, but this tide is coming down. I was literally then saying to Chris, like, are we going to get a bite? And it's gone. Like, it is bite time. Slightly more colour than the river last time means that we've got a bite before the light has really failed. Trying to keep an eye on that rod as well. Like, this is such a peculiar river because, like, when it's really flooded and there's loads of colour, it's quite, I'm going to say, easy. And when you night fish it, it's quite easy, but that's not allowed anymore on this stretch. And if any eagle-eyed viewers are wondering, are we in a different swim? The answer is yes, because we spoke to the bailiff and he said we had a much better chance up in the 30s. So we moved up here and we've fished away, whoa, literally all day since the afternoon, just exactly as we said we would and as we did previously, but fished for barbel. You know, we fished barbel baits and we were going all out attack. So let's hope this pays off. It's pulling. I don't know if I'm playing this really softly or not. I just want to get it in so bad. Normally it'd be pumping them in. Big feeder swinging about. Don't like that at all. Get in there! It is definitely not the biggest barbel you're ever going to see, but that is exactly why we do it. Yes! Ah. There we go. That It's not the biggest barbel I've ever caught, and it's probably not the biggest barbel you're ever going to see, but it is one of the most welcome. And we started this video with a question saying, why do we do it? And holding this barbel here in my hands, that is exactly why we do it. And it's a strange old thing being an angler, because if I would have caught this on the first time, I can promise you we wouldn't have been back coming to try it again. And I think sometimes it's almost those fails that make the highs and the achievements even better. So that is all we needed. I just wanted to get a bite like that, fishing on the tips, and we've done it. For me, that's as good as it gets. Right, I'm just going to give a bit of time to recover. One thing about barbels, why everyone loves catching them, is they give their absolute all in the fight. So just make sure they are fully ready to go. This one is pretty much ready. I'm just going to hold to make sure. But one question for you while I'm waiting for him to fully recover is, we were actually going to produce this video just on the first session with not catching, because that is fishing, you know what I mean? That happens and everyone goes through it. But we were debating, do we come back or do we show like the reality? Because we're not scared to show the reality of fishing. Everyone goes out and has sessions they don't catch. But would you like to see, there you go, strong now. Would you like to see that? Would you watch a video with no fishing? Or did we do the right thing, come back and do that? I done the right thing for me, because I didn't want to get defeated by barbel. And that is a tick off the list now for me. Come to the Trent, catch on the quiver tip rods. Not quite sitting there with one rod like we were at the start, but yeah, let us know in the comments. Have a little discussion on that one.
On?
This river is nuts, like how it just switches on. If you get it right, it's got to be one of the best rivers in the country, but at the same time, it can be so demoralising when you're sitting there all that time knowing you're doing it right. You just, I don't know. To be fair, me and you, Chris, we actually had this conversation, didn't we, on the way back last time. It's like, what is it that makes them feed? Obviously it's light levels, but do you really think that those fish can see like your light hook links and your small hooks? I don't know if they can, but maybe. Or do they just feed harder so they slip up more? Don't know, maybe that's another one for you to let us know what you think the answer is. I don't know if I've caught that other rod, but it's knocking away. Surely we've not got a double hookup, have we? I think I've definitely caught it. Right, this could be interesting. I have, right. Pass that over there. Here we go. Number two, a baby barbel. Things are good again. In the world of angling, things are good again. An angry second barbel proves that persistence equals rewards. Well, if this video has done anything for anybody, I hope that it's given somebody the encouragement to never give up and just get back out there and do it all again. So I do hope you've enjoyed it. I know it's been a struggle. I have really, really enjoyed it. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again on the next one. See you, buddy.